This HOA Karen destroyed my trash can 57 times with her $60,000 pearl white Escalade, so I replaced it with a concrete one and watched her destroy her own SUV instead. What started as petty morning property damage ended with criminal charges, a $12,500 settlement, a recovered $47,000 embezzlement scheme, and one very expensive lesson about choosing the wrong neighbor to bully. Picture this: the sharp crack of plastic shattering slices through the quiet dawn. It's followed by the metallic scrape of bumper against asphalt as a pearl white Escalade speeds away, leaving my garbage scattered across the driveway like confetti. Banana peels, coffee grounds, soggy cereal boxes, everywhere. Again. But here's the thing about bullies. They never expect their victims to fight back with actual concrete evidence. By the time this was over, this self-appointed HOA compliance officer had demolished her own vehicle, exposed her own fraud scheme, and learned the hard way that some neighbors don't scare easily, no matter how shiny the clipboard or how fake the authority. Seriously, what would you do if your neighbor was playing demolition derby with your property every single morning? Drop a comment and tell me where you're watching from. I want to know if this kind of HOA madness is happening in your town too. Let me back up. My name is Marcus Holloway. I'm 45 years old, an electrician for 22 years, recently divorced, and fighting for joint custody of my two kids, Emma, 16, and Tyler, 14. We live in Pinewood Gardens, one of those cookie-cutter HOA neighborhoods in suburban Ohio, where lawns must be exactly 2.5 inches tall, and mailboxes come in 3 approved colors. I bought the corner lot house 3 years ago right after the divorce finalized. Fresh start. New chapter. Separate bedrooms for the kids. Safe streets. Good schools. What I didn't plan on was Brenda Whitmore. Brenda is 52, a widow, retired bank manager, and the self-appointed compliance officer of Pinewood Gardens, a title that, according to our bylaws, does not exist. She drives a pearl white Escalade the size of a studio apartment and treats HOA dues like her personal checking account. She's best friends with HOA President Gerald Thornfield, which effectively makes her untouchable. Now, here's where geography matters. Because I'm on a corner lot, city ordinance requires my trash bin be placed within 3 feet of the curb every Tuesday morning. That location happens to sit directly along Brenda's daily 6:15 a.m. power walk route. The first incident happened the second week of September. I'm inside making coffee, getting the kids ready for school, when crack. I rush outside to find my brand new trash can obliterated, garbage everywhere. And there's Brenda, backing up her Escalade, window rolling down. "Oh my," she says, fake concern dripping from every syllable. "These streets are just so narrow. I hope you weren't too attached to that old thing." Old thing? I bought it a week earlier. I kept my cool. Figured it was an accident. That week, it happened 3 more times. Same routine. 6:15 a.m. engine rumble. Crunch. Silence. By Friday, I was suspicious. By the following Tuesday, I knew. Mrs. Olivia, the elderly neighbor across the street, confirmed it. "She does it on purpose," she whispered. "Plenty of room on the other side. But she drives close to your can every time." I tried reasoning with Brenda. Caught her during one of her sidewalk patrols. "Hey, about the trash can." She cut me off with a smile sharp enough to cut glass. "Marcus, I understand you're new to community living. These streets were designed for normal-sized vehicles, not oversized containers blocking traffic flow. Perhaps you should consider placement timing adjustments. Placement timing adjustments. Like there's some magical hour when garbage trucks don't need garbage cans." That night, I started researching. Turns out, trash cans placed on public right-of-way are still personal property. HOA authority ends at the property line. Our bylaws say nothing about timing or materials, only visibility. By the end of the month, I'd replaced 4 trash cans. The kids were stressed. My custody evaluator was taking notes. And Brenda? She started smirking, making eye contact during her morning ramming runs. That's when I knew, game on. 2 weeks into October, Brenda escalated. A certified letter appeared in my mailbox. Thick paper, fresh ink, improper trash receptacle placement creating traffic hazard. 72 hours to comply or face $50 daily fines. She'd rushed it through while the board was distracted, so I dug deeper. City code requires trash placement exactly where mine sat. HOA jurisdiction doesn't cover public right-of-way. I installed a Ring camera, hired a surveyor, got Mrs. Olivia's written statement. Meanwhile, Brenda flooded next door with posts about reckless homeowners endangering children. Then a buddy at City Hall called for separate complaints filed against me, submitted within 15 minutes at 2:47 a.m. Same writing style. Professional detective work. At the next board meeting, I came prepared. I read the ordinance aloud, presented the survey, mentioned my consultation with a property rights attorney. Brenda went pale. They tabled the issue. Translation, they had nothing. But in the parking lot afterward, she cornered me. "You think you're smart?" she hissed. "People like you come into decent neighborhoods and think rules don't apply." The racial undertones were unmistakable. My phone recorded everything. That night, Emma asked why the mean lady hated us. Tyler asked if we'd have to move again. Something shifted in the neighborhood. People started whispering. The next morning, Brenda slowed her approach, studying the trash like a general planning an attack. November hit, and she went nuclear. Grass too tall, mailbox too faded, microscopic screen tears. Each violation, $50. So I documented 14 identical violations across the neighborhood, including the HOA president's. Selective enforcement. Then Dale Kowalski at Home Depot gave me an idea. "There's no rule about what trash cans are made of," he said. "Plastic, metal, concrete, as long as it holds trash." That seed grew fast. 60 pounds of concrete, steel rebar, a plastic shell. Total cost, $47. That weekend, Emma and Tyler helped me mix cement in the garage. By Monday morning, my new trash can look completely normal. Inside, a physics lesson waiting to happen. 6:15 a.m. engine rumble. First hit, thunk. Her running board folded. My trash can didn't move. She tried again. Same result. Over the week, her Escalade accumulated hundreds in damage. Mine gained character. Neighbors noticed. By mid-November, Brenda became obsessed. Midnight inspections. Flashlights. A scale. Then a building inspector showed up. "No violations," he said. "It's a garbage container." HOA demanded property access. I refused, legally. Her Escalade kept losing. By now, the neighborhood was watching. And then came the real discovery. By mid-November, Brenda Whitmore had transformed from neighborhood busybody into a full-blown private investigator with too much time, too much rage, and a rapidly disintegrating Escalade. She was obsessed. I'd see her SUV, now sporting dents, scratches, and a crooked running board, cruising past my house at odd hours like a suburban shark circling prey. One morning, Mrs. Olivia called me, whispering like she was reporting a crime syndicate. "Marcus, she was in your driveway last night, with a flashlight and a scale. She tried to weigh your trash can." I laughed to spite myself. Brenda, in her navy blazer and sensible shoes, sneaking around at midnight with a bathroom scale, trying to solve the mystery of the indestructible trash can. The obsession escalated. Jim Torres, the HOA maintenance guy, told me she cornered him at the hardware store, interrogating him about concrete purchases. She stalked my social media. She filed another city complaint, this time alleging unauthorized concrete construction. A building inspector named Pete showed up, took one look, and shook his head. "It's a garbage container, not a foundation. No permits required." Honestly, I've seen people build entire sheds with less scrutiny. But Brenda wasn't done. The HOA sent a demand for immediate property access to inspect dangerous exterior modifications. I replied politely, citing case law and Fourth Amendment protections. No warrant, no emergency, no entry. Meanwhile, her Escalade kept losing. Every morning brought another accidental collision. Each one left fresh damage on her vehicle. Cracked bumper, rattling headlight, bent frame, while my concrete can stood there like a smug monument to physics. By collision attempt number 53, the neighborhood kids were timing it. By number 57, her bumper detached completely, and she had to crawl around my driveway collecting pieces while neighbors watched from behind curtains. That's when Patricia Lopez, the only reasonable board member, pulled me aside. "Marcus," she whispered, "Brenda's been pushing hard for certain maintenance contracts. Always the same company. She's had detailed proposals ready for months." That night, I stopped thinking about trash cans and started thinking about money. Public records don't lie. Within 2 hours, I found Whitmore Construction LLC, formed 6 months earlier. Brenda Whitmore, 40% owner. Her husband, Richard, president. Then I found the contracts. 7 HOA maintenance contracts. $23,400 total. Every bid undercut competitors by exactly $50 to $100. Every contract approved with Brenda's vote. 0 conflict of interest disclosures. It was blatant. I dug deeper. Bank records, meeting minutes, deposit trails. Total misappropriated funds, $47,000. Suddenly, everything made sense. Her trash can rage wasn't about placement. It wasn't about traffic. It wasn't even about control. It was about covering theft. I printed everything, backed it up 3 times. Sent it to attorney Amanda Sterling with one line: urgent. Criminal exposure likely. The war changed overnight. The community organized fast. Petitions circulated. Door-to-door conversations. Stories poured out. Selective enforcement. Harassment. Intimidation. We looped in Channel 7's investigative unit. Then Brenda snapped. Spray. Paint appear on my trash can one night. Move. Security footage caught her Escalade parked 3 houses down. A GPS tracker showed up under my work truck. That was the line. Police report filed. Insurance fraud investigation opened after she filed a false road hazard claim. State Farm denied it and referred her to their fraud unit. Her husband called me, voice hollow. She spent $8,000 on lawyers. Insurance dropped us. Please, what would it take to make this stop? It doesn't stop, I told him. Not anymore. The board meeting arrived. 127 homeowners packed into a room meant for 40. 3 news crews. Overflow crowds in the hallway. I rolled my concrete trash can to the podium. Exhibit A. I laid it all out. 57 collisions. Illegal surveillance. Insurance fraud. $47,000 embezzled through undisclosed contracts. Then I said the line that ended her. You destroyed your $60,000 Escalade, stalked my family, and committed multiple felonies over a $23 trash can because that trash can threatened your theft. Brenda lost it, screaming, racial rants, tearing at evidence boards. Officer Martinez stepped forward with a warrant, insurance fraud, stalking, harassment. She was suspended from the board on the spot. Unanimous vote. Cameras rolled as she was escorted out. The fallout was swift. Criminal charges filed. Whitmore Construction shut down. HOA audit recovered $47,000. Every homeowner received refund checks. Civil settlement, $12,500. Brenda moved to Florida. The HOA reformed completely. Financial transparency, open bids, monthly audits. My concrete trash can? It sits in the community center lobby now with a plaque. Property rights protected. 2023. We turned the mess into something better. A festival, a scholarship fund, a community that learned bullies only win when no one pushes back. Emma wrote her college essay about it. Tyler started a YouTube channel covering HOA abuses. And me? I learned that sometimes the best response to intimidation isn't anger. It's preparation, evidence, and 60 pounds of steel-reinforced concrete. If you've got an HOA nightmare, share it. Because bullies thrive on silence, and nothing scares them more than neighbors who refuse to back down.